Hi everyone, welcome to this new video, which is about a topic I think which is quite hot nowadays, and which I hope is kind of useful to you. In my earlier videos, I went over what skills you need to start in cloud security and what will help you out a lot. We now move on to one more key area which is very important, which is the all important job interview. Now, cloud security engineer jobs are very hot nowadays. You don't need to take my word for it. Just go on to LinkedIn and then just put cloud security engineer. I'm based out of the UK, and you will not. It's amazing how many jobs are there. And a big part of getting that cloud security engineer job is impressing your employer during the interview with confident answers. So I just listed down. I mean, I've taken a lot of cloud security interviews over the last couple of years, and I wanted to summarize just a few of the top questions I've been asked. I have seen asked from potential candidates, and what a good answer should be. So I hope the below is useful for you. And the disclaimer is this is based on my, of course, experience, and every job interview is different. But a lot of these are very common answers and common questions which are asked. So I hope these help you out. And let's take a look. So first of all, guys, before we start, one very important thing is know what a cloud security engineer does. And while the below, it can change based on the company and the size of the industry. Usually a cloud security engineer is expected to know, identify threats to the cloud infrastructure, identify risks, implement cloud security controls, able to implement automation. You should have a little bit of knowledge of scripting and programming, certification in one provider like AWS or Azure or Google. You might see some variation here and there, but the above is typically what a cloud security engineer should be expected to do. But do know your job description if they have any specific requirements. So the question and answers, I'm telling you, they are generic and they are independent of any provider, independent of any technology. So let's take a look at the first one. The first one is the most important, simple one. Not how much job experience do you have, but how much job experience do you have in the cloud. Now, this is easy to answer if you worked in the cloud before, but this is so that then you could just tell them what you've done already. But this can be tricky if you don't have experience, or if you only have experience in on-prem security. One thing which I've recommended earlier, guys, is to register for the free tier in AWS or Azure free account or Google free credits and get familiar with the security services. Just spin up a few servers, play around with it, as long as you stay within the free tier. So with this technique, you can easily tell the interviewer that you've already started working in the cloud, and this is to show a few samples. And this will also show that you have taken the initiative and you have proactiveness in front of the interviewer. Okay, so this is just if you don't already have experience. So this is a quick way of actually showing to the interviewer that you are interested and you know how what to do. Second one, explain IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS models. This is very simple. I mean, you should know the basic differences, but a few things I want to know. I mean, I'm not going to explain to you the basic differences that you can just go and look on Google, honestly speaking, but know the differences from the perspective of the security, right? Because IaaS gives you the most control, PaaS gives you a little less control, SaaS gives you the least control, okay? And it really, they might try to trick you and ask you, okay, which is the most secure and which is the one which is most recommended. Usually there is no right or wrong answer. It depends on the business model and what sort of regulations they are under. So don't try to be very hard and fast on one. No, IaaS is the best way to go or SaaS is the best way to go. It really depends on the business requirements. There's no right or wrong answer here. Have you been okay? One other question: have you been part of any cloud migrations? And like I said, this is harder to answer if you haven't done any cloud migrations or migrating any workloads, and you don't have experience. If you have, be honest in that answer, or honestly, you don't have experience. But one good technique is to understand the cloud adoption frameworks which are already there from providers like AWS and Azure and Google. These will go into detail about how to perform cloud migrations, and again show the employer that you are serious about this cloud. Okay. How would you secure a multi-cloud environment? Now, this is before answering this question, you should know why it's being asked. Okay, more and more companies are moving to a multi-cloud environment. As they mature in their cloud workloads and frameworks, this gives them more flexibility, and they don't want to depend on one vendor. But usually, what happens is getting visibility and standardization is a big problem. You have multiple security policies in each cloud provider, right? So, best way to really answer this is to answer is through a cloud security posture management solution, so that you have consolidated security controls across your cloud platforms. So I have talking about this in another video. You can go and look at that. But usually that is the way you have to make them understand that unless you implement a cloud security posture environment, a solution, you won't get the full visibility and you won't get the full standardization of your security policies. Okay, what are the unique security challenges of using the cloud? So, I mean, this can be a long list, but just try to know the main ones, which is maybe less control because you share responsibility for security between yourself and the cloud provider. And that's a plus and a minus for most organizations, right? You can go over the shared responsibility models, which are there from AWS and Azure. You have a risk of data leakage, right? Number two, a cloud can be accessed from anywhere, and which increases the risk of data leakage unless you put controls in place. Like BYOD can access the cloud from anywhere, and I've spoken on length about this topic. Compliance, PCI DSS and other compliance standards, they can change a lot in the cloud. You make sure your underlying infrastructure is following compliance practices before you move to the workload. Misconfigurations. A lot of times cloud breaches happen due to accidental misconfigurations, which allow attackers access into a cloud environment. Only way to solve this is via trainings and automated controls and alerting. Like I said, do take a look at the cloud security posture management video I've done already. And the last one, guys, is experience with infrastructure as code. Okay, this is a common skill which cloud security engineers are expected to know, which I've talked about before. Have a basic understanding of ISA tools, like Terraform and CloudFormation, and you should be fine. If not, then do write some code and spin up a few servers so you understand its technology. They won't expect you to be an expert, but the base knowledge should be there. So these were the 5 or 6 questions which I've seen. Like I said, I'm not going to go over the base questions like tell us about yourself or like what have you done and all that. I mean, that you can answer honestly. This is more geared towards a particular job title, which is the cloud security engineer. So do practice these questions, and provided you do it, you should be able to ace that interview and get your coveted cloud security engineer job. Thank you very much, guys. Please do visit my website and subscribe to my channel. And I wish you good luck in your job interviews.